it's very important not to forget who you are and where you come from. In my book, that's the way I am, and thank God that's where I'll always be. There's no point in being negative. Negativity will take you anywhere. Be positive, be positive, be positive. I was a married man with 3 children. I was 41 years old. The house in Maghera wasn't selling, and I decided to leave my job. Probably no worse time can anybody do it, because when I say I had no money, I had no money. You got to have a lot of determination. You got to have a lot of belief in yourself, and you got to you got to be positive. Positive in everything in life. Believe in yourself. Believe in those around you. I couldn't make this place on my own. So Danny did a deal with a man and I for 35,000. And at that time I hadn't 35 pounds. The first thing is you have to have a good team around you. Not a good team will start at home with your wife, your family. To me, my wife was the greatest backbone I had. In hard times, you need those people that understand. That is difficult. You have to drive on through it. Life to me is about people. 95% of people are good people.
Series 8 of the Dig podcast. I can't believe it, guys. We are over 250,000 downloads. The growth of the podcast has been amazing. But I just have one thing I'm asking of you guys today. If you love listening to the Dig podcast and you love all the new guests each week, then I'm asking if you could hit subscribe or follow. So if you listen on Apple or Spotify, if you could hit follow, and if you watch on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. It means the podcast reaches more people. When I reach out, people actually have heard of the Dig podcast, they know about it, and they're more willing to be a guest, and then I'm able to bring even more actionable advice to you guys. So it's really it really helps the podcast grow. So I'm asking for your help on that point today, and I just can't wait to dive into this series, and I can't wait for you to hear from our next guest. 0 to 35 million. Welcome to the Dig podcast this week. So look where I am, these beautiful surroundings in Specialist Group here in Maghera, and I suppose I first came to know, I can't believe I didn't know about this business until Christmas, actually, whenever they did charity work for Dig Deep for Kids, which a lot of you already know about. They have a massive charity campaign every year to help people, and have raised over £1 million. But the Specialist Group started its journey 35 years ago in 1988 by John Bosco O'Hagan, who's right beside me here, and love him that I'm going to keep him in the one place for an hour. He said, an hour? I'm going to be here an hour. But we were talking yesterday, and an hour's going to be no problem to John Bosco, because what a story he has to tell. From leaving his good job, in inverted commas, and I say that because we hear that all the time. I hear that whenever I mentor businesses. I've been through it myself. My mum said it to me at a time, you're leaving your good job, but he did, and he was 41. And it's written here the mature age of 41. I'm 41 now. I don't think I'm mature, but that's what's written in the bio here. He made the bold decision to give up his employment, and he started his own business. And whenever I was doing my call with him before the podcast, he had no money when he started. Like many of us, started at the bottom and had many obstacles along the way. But he did leave, and the business is like, turnover is 35 million. There's 200 people working for him, over 200 maybe. They fit out bars, restaurants, offices, big projects all over the world, really. But a lot of their work is in London, and we're going to hear all about that now. Their largest project to date was for 15 million with Citigroup. But it wasn't easy. And that was John Bosco's own words that he said to me. And he said, my life is full of hard stories in business, but he's still here to tell the tale on the Dig podcast. Welcome to Dig podcast, John Bosco.
Thank you, Charlie.
So John Bosco, JP, John, what's all right? Anything goes?
Anything goes. My mother christened me John Bosco. She was a great believer in St. John Bosco. I was supposed to be born on his feast day, but I was born a few days early, so we still have that in common.
What's John Bosco the saint of?
Young people, I think.
Okay.
You find boxing clubs and things like that where.
Okay.
I think he was a Cistercian, to the best of my knowledge.
Right. Okay.
I should have looked up on this, but I'm not too sure.
Well, I don't know there, but I just was interested to know there. But
yeah.
So I gave you an introduction there, and me and you were talking yesterday about all of this. So 41. What were you doing up to 41? Where did you work, and how did this all happen? John Bosco, take us back to the very start.
Well, the start basically is a long time ago, but what I think I should start is I was offered a job by Armo Manufacturing Company, Mr. Patsy Forbes, way back many, many years ago, early 70s, late 60s, early 70s. At that stage, I was working with another fellow, Patsy Devlin. We were doing farm buildings and whatnot, and we just finished a farm building for Patsy's father. And I was finishing. Patsy Devlin was off at the time, and Patsy Forbes came and asked me would I take a look at building a couple of partitions for him in a new factory he just built. So I down took a look at it anyway and finished the shed, went down on the Monday morning and started putting up a few partitions for Patsy. And the partitions led on to doing a bit more work internally in the factory. It led on to asked me to look at chair frames. He was buying in chair frames from Belfast. He was doing upholstery as part of his business as well as kitchens. And we're very primitive, probably that stage. I remember trying to boil glue in a gallon can and stuff like that, you know. But we got started, and after over a period of time, we progressed into looking closer at upholstery, going to exhibitions in England, principally. I worked at that making chair frames with Patsy, then went into the upholstery department, worked in the upholstery with 5 girls were there, lovely girls, worked very hard, was great stitchers. I looked after the stores and all that whole jazz, we looked after the suites. Then I went with Patsy down again out to sell my own suite of furniture. So I went through that for a period of time, a number of years actually, and then one Christmas time, kitchens weren't going as well as he wanted to, and he asked myself and going to rest Paddy Mooney and Jim Kern, 2 of them are now gone, would we give him a hand to look at kitchens and whatnot. And I've been doing some 3-dimensional drawing of kitchens for him at home at night and stuff. So we decided we'd advertise this, and the advertisement said, if I remember correctly, bring the dimensions of your kitchen and we will give you a 3-dimensional drawing and a price home with you. We did that for a week, I think it was. Worked very, very hard. It was very, very difficult. But Jim and Paddy were selling, bringing stuff, and to me, I was sketching and working. And I think Jim was maybe pricing, Paddy was doing the selling, and I was doing the drawing. Patsy was there. It was very, very good, but it went quite well to the point where after Christmas, then Patsy sort of got me roped into doing a bit more drawing and a bit more with the kitchen department with Brian Patton. I call rest him as well. These guys, all very good, and worked closely with them over the next number of years, again, going to shows, going to exhibitions. Patsy and I went to Belgium for sake of argument, looked at suites of furniture. Patsy went to Hong Kong and places like that. So, and we worked very closely together, and it was quite successful with Patsy. I became its general manager 5 or 6 years before I left him, and we were very close, especially in dealing with governments, dealing with government departments. The big thing I liked about the whole bit of the Patsy thing was that Patsy gave me the opportunity in life to make something of myself. I went in there to put up a few partitions. 9 years later, I was general manager, and 6 years following that or thereabouts, I decided I was going to move on. For no other reason other than I'd taken the company as far as I believed I could. The people there didn't really want to move into anything new. There were kitchen people, upholstery people and all that. I wanted to move into something a bit different. And the one thing I really wanted to get out of was kitchens. I was fed up with kitchens. I was fed up with looking for money for kitchens. It was just a game that I just didn't like, if you will, you know. And Patsy and I was at a meeting in Belfast. It was the 9th of January. I'm coming up the road, and we're talking to the government department, and he said, no, what we were going to do, what we were going to do. And I said, Patsy, just tell me, who do you think we are? Like, I'm working there for a salary. That's general manager, that's all I have. I don't have anything. You know, he put my name on the paper then when he let me talk. Patsy and I talked. He got people to talk to me. His good friend Tommy Quinn, one of them, again, dead and gone. Paddy Duffy, similar. My mother, his mother, the priests. Don't leave your good job. No, Patsy has a good job. You have a good job. Stay there. You're there this years. And Patsy looks after you. And he did. Don't get me wrong. But in the 4 months we talked, I don't think he ever said anything in constructive that I was going to be staying, why would you leave and all that sort of thing. So Peter Quinn, a great friend of all of ours, was there. Peter was an accountant, came in on a monthly basis, and he talked to me and I talked to him. And I decided, no, I'm going to go and have a go with this. No worse time, Caroline, because I was a married man with 3 children. I was 41 years old. I had a house in Maghera up for sale because we'd started to build a new house down in Balahi on farmland that Teesa's father owned. We had that house with the roof on it. The money was done. The house in Maghera wasn't selling. And I decided to leave my job, which and probably no worse time can anybody do it, because when I say I had no money, I had no money, So Teesa and I sat down. She wasn't very happy, but I said, look, give me 4 years. She was teaching. I said, your salary should keep us going, and I'll try my best, which was what was decided basically at that stage. I then was very friendly with a fellow Hugh Scullion.
Before you go on there, that bit, because that's a big thing that we're hearing a lot now. Some people are getting restless in their jobs. They've been there a long time, and whenever you leave school and go to do a trade or a profession, you don't really know what you're getting into at that age. And then sometimes in the late 30s, 40s, the itch is there. How do you think you have you that fearless nature in you? Because that was like to have no money and be in that position. Like, what is that just in you, John Bosco, to take like that kind of risk like that?
It probably is in a way. And the first thing went in my head there was, when you played football for Arbo, you had to have another risk, But basically, I probably had, I never, I went to England at 15, so like I was out on the roads from a very early age, so my time, like that type of thing, it never bothered me taking a chance or taking a risk or whatever,
How old are you? Do you tell what do you do?
Today?
Is it okay to say that? Yes. What are you?
77.
70.
Okay. And people count up 41 and 35, and
yes,
so I'm kind
of course.
All a year now.
I should have done that myself, but
anyway, no, it's Patsy was very, very good. Our manufacturing company, Forbes Kitchens, Forbes for you, very, very good people, great company to work for, very, very good company, and I made a lot of great friends there. And when you come from the shop floor into management, life is a wee bit more difficult. People you work with down there, you're then telling them what to do. Some of them don't like you. That's life at the end of the day, But I left Pats with the best of good terms, and thank God to this day we're still best of good friends. So we go for a coffee every couple of weeks and have a bit of a chat, and he's proud of me and I'm very proud of him.
Well, actually, when we were talking yesterday, that's something that you keep saying throughout your whole story. You're always so grateful to all the people that were part of your journey. Like you said that yesterday as well. They make up your story, don't they, really?
Okay. Life to me is about people, and you can, to me again, 95% of people are good people. You get the odd person who doesn't like the odd person who does different things. I think we labour too much on the negative side, There's a lot of great positive people out there who, if you need something, generally, and that's the time, to me that, especially if there's a death about a house, you see how good neighbours are, you see how good people are. And to me, in business, we've had disappointments, we've had odd setbacks, but all in all, it hasn't been a bad journey. I can look back and talk about the bad days, but we come through the bad days. We want to move to the next level. We want to keep on going.
We do, but we talked yesterday at length, and there was a lot of hard times. Talk to us about the start. So you were trying to get the money and keep me right here with the story to buy a piece of land, isn't that right? To get you started.
Well, going back a little bit,
yeah.
Hugh Scullion, Hugh lives beside us over in Maghera here in Crew Drive, and Hugh had a place, a joinery shop, which he was sort of getting out of the joinery, going more into construction, and he allowed me to rent the joinery shop from him. Basically, there's a couple of machines and stuff in it, and a fellow subcontractor with fitting with me informs us, a fellow Seamus McCusker, decided that he'd come with me, and we formed a partnership. But so the go with Hugh Scullion's place out the road, two of us and a young fellow Martin Collins, a couple of weeks later as an apprentice. We started out there and realised after a couple of months, invoicing wasn't my forte, keeping count of deliveries and all that sort of jazz. My paperwork wouldn't have been the best, so we got a wee girl in from school, and Maghera McGuckin, who turned out to be a great girl as well, for so many years. She's still in the business with ourselves with someone else. But Maghera was very, very useful, very, very good at that time, you know. And we started, I took no ban or no work from Patsy because that would have been wrong. So we started off on a wee job with O'Neill and Brady down in Belfast, a small school, and I'd been working with O'Neill and Brady for Patsy and another bigger job. So they gave me this school and we started there. And I was very friendly with architects that I had worked with during the years and got work from them for the price. And particularly around airports, I thought to specialise in something that there wasn't so many people in. So we did the reception desks, airport check-in desks, that type of stuff, security stuff around airports.
And there'll be people listening, and I have a brother who always says to me, when I listen to your podcast, I'm always dying to ask, but how did you get into the airports? How did you get those opportunities? So is that to do with the networking that you would have done in your journey in your previous job?
Yeah.
So there's a message there too, I suppose.
You know, probably the last 6 or 7 or 8 years I was with Patsy, I was out on the roads back and forward talking to architects, selling work, bringing in new jobs for pricing, and I knew quite a number of good architecture practices. They knew me. Before I left, Patsy came around with me around some of the places to introduce him that they didn't know Patsy. And through that then, you know, people got to know, well, I asked for any chance of getting a job here, any chance of getting pricing, and they gave me a chance. And one thing was another, we got into Belfast International, we went to Belfast City. Some time later, we did a lot of work for British Midland, in lounges in Heathrow, Scotland, Belfast, diamond lounges, and that was a very, very good job too, on a period of time. And we seem to just move from one bit to the next bit. You know.
Do you think is it because you niched down on something different that made you kind of stand out and be the one that everybody wanted at that time?
Yeah. I believed at that time, you know, that you could make good money making onion boxes. I call them rough pieces of joinery, and you can probably make good money at it. I never wanted to do that. I was a carpenter by trade. I like to see a bit of good work done. I always like to see great work. You know, it's one of those we Ben talked to you about in a minute. He used to say that his father was a painter. He never made any money painting because he always had to stand back and look at it and see how good a job he'd done. And it wasn't a great job, he'd be painted it again. I'd be quite similar. I like to see the job perfect at the end, you know. I'd be a bit of a perfectionist and all those type of things, you know. But anyway, I got through the early bits of getting to architects and surveyors and designers and that type of thing, you know. In the early days of business, when we decided to start up, we had to look at the premises after the queues because we couldn't stay there really. We were only there for a period of time. And an electrician here from Maghera, dead and gone as well, Danny McKenna. All these people seem to be gone now, where I'm still about, but Danny was a very good friend of ours, come with Kelly down here a couple of nights a week, him and his wife Annie. And he said to me after a couple of months, he said, look, what are you going to do about the place? He said, don't know, Danny, to keep an eye on it. He says, there's a place in Maghera, I think it can be bought. And it hadn't really a place I had an eye on, but never knew how you're going to get it, because you a fella, McElroy, who made kitchens in this place years earlier. And he said, well, leave it with me. I was okay. A while later, Danny came back to me. He says, that place can be bought. And I says, right, what? And he says, what do you think it's worth? He said, Danny, I wouldn't have a clue. So Danny did a deal with the man and for 35,000. Carney, at that time, I hadn't 35 pounds. Else, but anyway.
You're
not I shut down. I took a notion, right, okay, well, I'll have a look at, see what we can do. So I went to my mother, addressed her, and said, like, you know, this was coming up when I was thinking of mine. She says, my mother had great moment for encouraging you. Just gone ahead, keep going. But she says, I have no money, but I'll give you the deeds of the house. And if you need the deeds for the bank, see what you can do. So that was a great start, basically. A couple of days later, met Danny, and Danny says, I've sorted that place out. I give you a man a deposit. You what? He says, he give him 5,000 or Saturday night, then he needed the money. And we don't here to say that it's mine, it's yours, Johnny. And then I had to go to the bank, a very good bank man at the time too, Jim Walsh. Went to see Jim. Jim came out with me, took a look at the place and worked out how many houses could you build on the piece of ground of an old factory on it, like that. And he said, what do you need? I said, I need 30,000. And he said, what are you using for working capital? I says, just foot off on the bat, you know. He says, wait, I'll give you an overdraft for 35,000, which was absolutely brilliant, you know, at that time. And that got us started, basically. Then we started to renovate it a bit. O'Neill and Brady gave us a hand over there, what was St. Patrick's School. So they come in all evening. They give us a wee bit of shots here and there to get the place up and running. Very good man, Pat, the plumber, was there, and he came and built or fitted out toilets for us, fitted out a wee kitchen, and very good as well. And those people, I think to this day, never ask for any money. Every time I want to get money, they'll be okay, get up and run there, you know. So that's what I say about good people, you know. Those people are the salt of the earth. You know, they're really people who give you that wee lift.
And you still, like, yeah, that was in you too, but you still live like that, because I can see that in the work that you do here, the people that work here, all the good work that I've seen that you've done at Christmas, and I've only just known about you in the last few months. But it is, like you said, it's about people, those people that helped you at the start. Like, you'll never ever forget them.
I mean, how do you forget people like that?
You don't, but some people with success and money and all, you know, like you said to me yesterday, you never forget where you came from.
Sure.
You know, some people do, John Bosco, some people do, but, you know, it's so lovely to hear that kind of humbleness and that, you know, I know those companies you're talking about, I know the people and their families, and, you know, I just think that if we all give somebody a wee helping hand like that at a time,
yeah,
it makes you feel like a better person, right?
Yeah, it's certainly, you know, it's very important not to forget who you are and where you come from. In my book, you know, and that's the way I am, and thank God that's the way I'll always be. But I've been living in Derry now for 50 years, but I'm still a throwing man. I sponsored Derry football, and I've played football in Derry.
There's people jump back and forth, isn't there, though?
I love the Derry people. I love the footballers. I love all of that, but the Derry's played Tyrone like last Sunday. I sit between the people, clap the two sides. It's great, you know. Down in my heart, I want Tyrone to win. You know,
I know.
And I say to people, you can't ridicule the head, you wear your first shirt on, and that's why I made my shirt.
I know. So that's all about community too, and you're, you know, feeling part of all of that. But, you know, that kind of helping other people out, I think there's so much there that other people don't do. But so the growth of your business, like you talked about then, like you niched down, things were starting to go well. And then the bar, that you talked to me about how things progressed into like making the bars, and you stood out in that way.
The bars is a wonderful story, I think, you know, because that's the early days of...
We're talking about a bar now that you drink Guinness off, because somebody's wondering right about.
Not the one you jump over.
Not the one you jump over, yes.
Yeah, the Irish pubs basically at that stage is what we're talking about. And I think it was 1991. We were employed by the Quinn organisation, Sean Quinn, and principally Peter was the guy who put our name forward for to do a bar in the Slieve Russell hotel, which had been built by Sean. We're only a couple of years or so in business, and they give us the opportunity anyway. A beautiful bar, the Kells Bar, which is still in the Slieve Russell to this day. It's still the same shape, it's still in the same place. Little bits of renovation still, but it's still a very nice bar. We did that one, and through that, Mel McNally heard about us. Mel McNally was a guy who was on after the Irish Pub Company, who was basically doing a lot of work for Guinness, doing Irish pubs around Europe. So he contacted us anyway, and we did a bar for him in Derry, Da Vinci's in Derry. And again, a very good job, a nice job. So there was another job came up then for the same client, and we didn't get it. Someone else got it, and I felt a bit disappointed. And Mel was always promising these. A number of people working for him, doing a number of subcontractors called them working with him. We were only one of them. And anyway, it was always Guinness people, and it's very difficult to get a job at a price yet you need it, you know. So I decided at that stage, I'm going to talk to the other black beer company in Ireland to me, which is Murphy's. So I got an inroad into Murphy's.
So just to stop you there. So this is what I want to know. How did you said I decided I was going to go and talk. How did you get to talk to them? People are listening, they're like, they want these opportunities, but what did you do to make that happen? Can you remember?
What I did, and as I remember it anyway, at that time, I reckoned that we were not going to get big doing Guinness because Mel had the overall design for Guinness, I believe, and therefore at that stage, we were only a subcontractor and he was only going to use us when he really had to. There were a lot of people out there as well. And it was all about black beer, which is Guinness. So I reckon the other thing in Ireland for black beer, nice beer, was Murphy's. So I made a phone call, basically, to Murphy's.
Just rang.
Just have a call and spoke, I think, at length to a lady, I think it was Mary Walsh, about this whole thing, and got from that to a guy who rang me, and I said, well, what's the story? He said, well, look, I think I'm looking about a meeting, So this man arranged a meeting for us a couple of months later, so they tried to get a few boys together and see what we want to do. So at that stage, I know an architect who had worked for Mel and then had left or out on his own, a fellow Michael Doyle from Belfast, who was working out of Dublin. Tied up with Michael and the two of us to say, do some drawings, but had a surveyor here, Hilda, Cork, and a guy that we knew in Germany that was in pubs, managing pubs, but would like to done a bit more, maybe selling pubs. And got in touch with him. They were trying to put that team together and go to Cork.
Recently, I've been doing some research on different conditions, family, things that are going on in different health conditions online, and it's very hard sometimes to find the right information. And definitely my go-to now is Mars Pharmacy. I found Mars online during COVID actually, and started to follow the owner Una and all the unreal advice she was given for everyday issues that we all experience, educating us on things that are going on in everyday life, but we just don't know the facts and how to treat those things and how to, what we should be doing, and just unbelievable education really. And that started my relationship with Mars way back a few years ago, and we're absolutely delighted that they're now the partner for the Dig podcast, and you're going to hear a little bit more about them today.
At Mars, we're passionate about gut health and educating on the importance of a healthy gut and its many benefits that it can have for your overall health as well. A healthy gut not only benefits your digestive system, but it also supports your immune system, your mental health, your skin health, and even your metabolic health too. Eating a healthy diet with a variety of plant-based foods, getting regular exercise and good quality sleep can all contribute to a healthy gut. A food supplement such as Simprove can also be really beneficial. Simprove contains 4 strains of live and active bacteria which reach the gut alive, where they survive and thrive, getting to work to rebalance and support your microbiome. Visit us at mars.ie or contact us on our social media for more information and advice on gut health. And don't forget, we also ship to Northern Ireland, and you can enjoy 15% off all full priced items on mars.ie with the code DIG15. And receive a free treat in every online order dispatched from our busy warehouse here in Dublin.
Thank you so much for that, Una. And now back to our guest on the Dig podcast.
We went to Cork anyway with a set of drawings that weren't finished, weren't coloured in. The plane was late coming in from Germany. We were colouring in drawings with pencils that we bought in Castell, this factory, on the way down to Cork. And we went to the meeting half an hour late, which I don't like being late for anywhere. And you had principally the main board in many ways of Murphy Brewery, right, including the Dutch man who was the MD, Bob Kinnifick, who was the sales director, and Porrick Liston, who was in charge of marketing, Fanoff in charge of finance. They're all there, and we made a presentation, not very good. Thank you, fact, it was as bad a presentation as I think we ever made anywhere. So leaving it, I wasn't very happy, and I sort of said to Michael, to hell with this, for carry on, if it just didn't go well. But I got a call the next day from Bob to say, look, it wasn't great, but we'll like your idea. So we built from there basically with Bob and with his team.
What you did there though, you pitched, like people talk now, like there's all these things now, like pitch your idea, have the confidence to reach out. Like that was all like stripped back obviously, but you were doing that back then and it didn't go well, but the opportunity still came out of it. So if there's people listening and perhaps they feel like they haven't done their best at other times, there's still chances there for you, right?
Okay.
Can't give up.
Yeah. Someone sees your idea and says, well, look, it's not that bad. Maybe this bit of like another chance of this or whatever. So that's what we got. And we worked for Murphy's then for many years, basically, doing pubs that their reps would say, this guy is looking at a pub done. He's in Germany, he's in Belgium, or he's wherever. And we would send Michael out, or go out myself, whatever, take measurements, talk to the people, give them an idea of what it would cost. Murphy's would come in and help them with the beers and help them with small bits of finance, but not the way Guinness were helping people with finance. But we did quite well. But we were in Kazakhstan, for sake of argument, doing a pub in the winter time. Now, it's not nice to put any time, but if we did our job, we got it done. Like from there to all around Europe and almost every country, did quite a bit in America. We then became known really as, the pub company. We were doing pubs and sort of forgot about everything else. Not particularly forgot about it, but did wee bits and people. The big area we have was in the pub area, and difficult because it's publicans, people who really, the same around the world, they don't want to close and they want to open a week before they should be open, right?
Publicans will be like, yeah.
That's, to me, that's the way that people were. That's their business. And they close as late as possible and open as quick as possible. Yeah. We done pubs for people that got, we only said 7 days, 15 days or whatever, But anyway, we got through that. And then I came up with a bright idea that we'd have a franchise of Irish pubs. So we talked to Murphy's, talked to Bob, talked to David, talked to a lot of them anyway. And we came up with an idea that we'd have a J.J. Murphy's pub. Inside that pub, there would be 19 things that would be similar in the J.J. Murphy's pub anywhere around the world. Only different places, different shapes of buildings, different places to take over. You can't build the pubs all the same. You have to revamp the place. You would always have like a library in it. You'd always have a fireplace in it. You also have a photograph of J.J. Murphy, the bric-a-brac, all that whole thing. We're looking at the integrity of the brand that you're in. We're looking at our own integrity. We're looking at making sure that things were right. And to that end, we also reckoned then there was a big opportunity that Murphy's had found, a big opportunity for brewing in Japan. Haroya Brewery wasn't brewing any black beers. Heineken had brought out a red beer, and I think Haroya had agreed with them for whatever discounts, percentages or whatever, that it would brew for them. So I reckon the great idea would be that if we could tie up building pubs in Japan, new beer coming out with this Haroya brewery, with a Japanese brewery, then things could maybe take off. So I saw a brilliant opportunity. But every penny we had into it, and we were back and forward to Japan with a guy here in Ireland, Loughlin, it was called him, Hugh Loughlin, and another fella, Japanese guy, Nakamura. So I went to Japan a number of times, and you go there, and I think, if you've been educated at maybe Cambridge or somewhere, Oxford, some of these big top universities, you go there at a level, they speak to you. If you go there and you're a joiner, you're on the floor, and you're gearing yourself up basically, and you meet people in the morning, you meet them at lunchtime, you meet them again at night, you're shown about, you talk to different, and you're sized up over the next year or two, really. They like to get to trust their people before they do business with you. Nice people. So a number of times we were there, and I met up with a man called Mr. Sao, who was head of a large construction business. And he met him in his house, a very strange one, and very few people told this, but met this man, and I had not 5 words of Japanese. Matt Nakamura was my man. He did the interpreting. So I went to this guy's house, a lovely house in Tokyo, And the garden at the front, were about 5 square metres. But he had a garden. We went in, and when he started, he had coffee, came out of the kitchen with coffee and chocolate sweets. And I thanked it when he spoke to me in Japanese, and I knew what he was saying. And that man spoke to me for the next 20 minutes in Japanese. And I understood what he told me. And I answered him in English, and he understood what I was saying. I can't tell you how, why, or whatever. To this day, it's unbelievable. It was Matt, she said, John, I don't like how you do these things. You understand it. I said, I don't know why. I can't tell you why, but I understood what he said, and he understood me. And he had a bit more English than I had Japanese. But lovely man, and we got on well, and met with him back and forth. At that stage, we had opened a J.J. Murphy's pub in Bruges in Belgium, so we could take the Japanese there and show them what this pub was going to be like, show them, hopefully, we reckon, it looks would show that it's making decent money, and all that whole jazz. Put a guy into it from Limerick who was working out there to run this pub. One of those bad stories coming up.
I know, I heard this yesterday, it's terrible, but keep going.
But anyway, it finished up that...
the plans were for like 100 and something.
The plans were for, there was going to be 106 pubs.
106 pubs.
In various areas in Japan. And the first 6 were lined up and basically not drawn totally up, but sketches done, measurements done, that whole thing. And no money had ever changed hands. And I was on the last few up. But anyway, things were going well. We had our bric-a-brac all done. We had it all manufactured. Everything was in place.
And did you have to have that done even though you hadn't signed anything yet? Or was it signed and you were doing it?
There was nothing signed.
Right.
No. To me, and I wasn't a big man about signatures, which is probably another mistake.
Yes.
But these people then, after a year and a half to 2 years, were trusting me, and I was trusting them.
Okay.
And it was all going to happen. And we finished up anyway that we went and got the likes of Tarina Allen and Molly Malou, did menus for us, various meals are going to be cooked. We had our cutlery, we had a delf, we had uniforms. All these things have been put in place. We want to have everything ready because J.J. Murphy just wasn't going to go to Japan. We're going to do this around the world. We're going to get this all. So it's time enough we got the things moved up. And that went on okay. Ready to go out. I was going out to get deposits. We're getting 50% for each pub. To pick that up and do the pub and get paid, which was brilliant. Got a phone call Tuesday morning, a week before, 10 days before I was leaving. They said Mr. Sile had just dropped dead. So Mr. Sile was just dropped dead. And my money was done. And things weren't looking well. And it's going to take another 6 to 9 months for the confidence of the next level of people that they would take you on board, I had no money. So I just had to start going back out to contractors at home and looking for a bit of work. I'm going to the people who gave me work before and then say, you had left us, you really going down pubs, what are you back with us for? It wasn't easy, that was a hard time, but the people were good enough to give us a bit of work to keep us floating.
So that's like not swallowing your pride, but like it would have taken a lot to go back out there again for you. Did it, or were you never like that? You just went on ahead with whatever.
Well, we back on that we did what we had to do. We the big thing about the pub in Bruges, then the guy running to the grounds, and on a Christmas Eve night, I owed Carlsberg, I bought £60,000 from them, and I owed them, I think, £50,000. And I then the guy run the pub into the ground, I pulled over, and I had a lot of money spent on it. I'd owed this 50 odd grand, and a guy came on the phone and tried to sell the place to him anyway. And he finished up on a Christmas Eve night telling me, he said, look, I'll take on the debt that you have of 52 grand. I'll take it off your hands. That's okay. Never heard of from that day to this. Never heard of the Japanese from that day to this. Just sucked it up and said, I've got to get back and get on the road again. Difficult, Right.
Your mind. How do you look after your mind when something like that's happening?
Well, the first thing is you have to have a good team around you. not good team will start at home with your wife, your family, and the people you're working with, you know, even the old siblings, brothers, sisters, those type of things. You know, that is difficult, but you have to drive on through it, you know. Like I also went into a pub in America. I finished up we built a pub for Minneapolis, Minnesota, and he just didn't have the money. And I finished up owning 42% of it, and finished up into Chapter 11. Just basically went bust after a couple of years. I went over there and I bought the whole thing over for, I think it was 11 cents in the dollar or whatever. Put a guy into it, and after goes to 20 years, nothing, it's gone. No money, no pub, nothing. Another sad story in pubs. So the pub business wasn't the brightest thing that we were ever in, I suppose. Though. Murphys were very good to us. They were good people. Bob Kenneth, they say, you know, Porrick, this nice person, got good till he's dead too. And so David Ford, all those people are all very good. You know.
And you talked to me about a time when, and this really, actually, I was telling my husband about it last night, that your wife, Teresa, said to you, isn't it Teresa?
Yeah.
In the morning, you were away early this morning, John Bosco, but you weren't away early. You'd actually got up during the night to go to the office. And that's when times were hard then.
That was the time at the pubs, the whole thing had went sort of belly up, basically. And we got to the place where we always were fit a meter of build, thank goodness. Whenever the check ever bounced, boy, it was tight. Very, very tight. And with a good girl here at the time, the girl Cora Klusky at Cora was in the office and she was at the books. And I had been away in Bahrain and Abu Dhabi, pubs again, and came back to be told by our bank manager basically that our overdraft had risen quite a bit. Looked at it very closely to find out that we had a work out whether we were solvent or not. It had gone as bad as that, you know. So I go to bed at Teresa at 11 o'clock at night or 11:30 and read a bit of a book, whatever. And when I got her snoring, I slid out of bed, rang Cora. She had come in here, we'd have worked several times. And you had that to do to try to get through. And we got.
But were you trying to protect Teresa from that kind of worry that
Oh, God,
yes,
yeah.
aye.
Because
that's very.
I had a sort of an understanding with Teresa. I said, look, you're teaching, and I don't want to hear you coming home telling me your problems teaching, and I won't bring my problems to work home either. So whenever I leave work, like home, I hate talking work. And I did that for years, you know. I might not go home that early, but at least, you know, when I went home, I wasn't talking work. And Teresa didn't talk about teaching either, because the teachers talk about teaching to themselves, and I don't understand it, but it's grand, you know. But I had many of those things within the pub area of the whole business, you know, and it was tight.
There's so many people listening that have had it tight all their lives, and they're going to be listening to this, and what we're going to move on to now is when things started to get better because of great people as well in your life. But there's a story there that it can be okay, right, with resilience and determination.
Oh, yeah.
And building your team, and you know, like the hard time, like you said, my life was full of hard stories yesterday, and so many people's are, but there can be light at the end of the tunnel if you can find the way through. So I, like when I'm listening to all of this and then I'm sitting here in this beautiful, it feels good that this will be okay. We can, like, you can get through hard times like that. Now you met a man, and I don't know if it was just after this, but and God rest him, and I know he said a lot of the people that we've mentioned here actually aren't with us anymore, but look at the legacy that they've created to be able to talk about them like this. Patsy Byrne was a man then that sort of opened up the London market for you, is that right?
Yeah, we had been to London a time or two and looked at bits of work and priced bits of work. But I was going to overstay retreats up in Lismullen outside Navan on a yearly basis, maybe twice a year. But at that, you'd have met a lot of people like coming over from England for a weekend to clean their soul, to get themselves maybe back in the land of the living or whatever, you know. And Patsy was a good man, a large concrete company in London, Patsy, the Byrne brothers, very big at the concrete business. And they were in the fit-out business as well, 2 or 3 businesses. And Patsy, I have a few jobs over in England I've priced with people. Could you let me know what do you think, you know, what they'll be like, you know, would they be all right? And he said, yeah, I'll do that. Call and see me. So I said that was great, you know. So I didn't ring Patsy for maybe 2 months, 3 months. And he said, I was waiting on you ringing me. He says, get yourself over here to get on to you. So I said, okay. So Dermot, my younger son who's in sales here, Dermot and I tried to go over to see him, and it was a beautiful offices, beautiful place, you know. Teddington, unreal. They were scared of this place, so big and so, that didn't hear you, had to check in there. So I went upstairs to the room where I went, and then Patsy came in and took us into this room, and there's another fella in the room, happened to be Patsy's son, Mike, I didn't know at the time. And he said, asked a casual question, how did you get over, how's the crack, blah, blah. And he says, you're here looking at work. And I says, more or less, Patsy. He says, well, he says, you're not looking at work anymore. I'm going to give you work. I'm going to give you 2 things. I'm going to get price, work away with you at the price. And I'm going to tell you when you get the price back, if you're too cheap or you're too dear, or you're near enough right. And he said, after that, it's up to yourself. But this is in the fit-out area. So Patsy was very good. We did work for him, quite successfully for Elmer for a number of years. But Patsy was a good man, and he was helpful all the time, you know. He had a great interest in racehorses and dogs. Van with all sorts of. I had a racehorse or two, which were had an interest in, but Patsy then was involved, and as it transpired, Patsy had a great horse called White Starlight, one that carried Ashlow, and then it was stolen about 10 years ago. Patsy, I was there, and not that day, then the following day, I had a horse running on the Saturday. And I talked to Patsy on the Thursday, great for him, and congratulated him and his wife and brother. There was a number of people there. But a great night, Thursday night, Friday, talking to Patsy again at the races, and he says, look, I'll see you tomorrow, I know you have a horse run. What's the crack? So I told her what I thought the crack was. On Saturday, I went to look at Patsy and couldn't see him, but I was on my own because I was leaving that afternoon to go up to Dublin to meet my wife, Teresa. We went up to the All-Ireland final, and we met those from Dublin. After I left the stool, that's where in Dublin, then we went out for some detail or whatever. That was a crack. So my horse ran, horse won, which was grand. On my own, a few boys I knew, but I got into the car and I headed for Dublin. And rang Patsy, and then rang him again, got Patsy. And he said, look, I had to go this morning very early. He said, a wee problem here at home. I have 2 priests with me at the moment. I'll talk to you around. I know the horse won. I want to get a wee look out and I'll give you a shout. That was okay. Following Tuesday morning, I was here at work, and Dermot came in there about 8 o'clock. He said, something wrong in Elmer's. I said, what's wrong? He said, don't know. He says, I was ringing them there. He says, there's word coming in something about Patsy. And he says, send the ring me back. As it transpired, Patsy was over in Kerry, he said, for the races, and he was staying in the house he owned over there, and with his wife and daughter and that there. He got up with a roll somewhere that morning, into the bathroom and shave, and dropped dead. 62 years old. A great man in many, many ways for an awful lot of good people, you know, really, and he died too young. Great business and all of that. I miss Patsy very much so for many, many years, because he's one of those people you could talk to, you know. He's a great friend of Barney Curley's. Barney's a great man as well. That's a head going to. Those type of people you meet and you know that you can drive on, you know, and then give you that wee buzz. So, like, people like Patsy Byrne, those type of people are they're ingrained in my life, you know, really, in many ways, because, okay, we've done very well and nothing ever since. I have 3 boys here in the business. Kieran is the MD, and Sean looks after contracts, Dermot looks after sales. They have teams around them. But you know, there's some of them in London every day, you know, and quite often they're trained in London for 2 or 3 days. A big amount of our businesses in London, okay, with some on the continent, with some in Scotland, with pieces in Ireland. But in general, London is a big, big market for us. And to me, it all stems from the encouragement I got from Patsy Byrne.
See, isn't that, I think it can just be a pivotal moment like that can change things for everybody. Yeah. So, like, embracing opportunity, putting yourself in places where people like that might be, so you could perhaps network with them. And like you said, a thing I read a speech that you wrote and you said, choose your network wisely. Was that the line you said? Or I thought I had it written down in my notes here. I can't see it, but it was something about your network anyway. Those people around you are what's most important, right?
Most important, yeah. And within all that network, which is brilliant, to me, my wife was the greatest backbone I had. And in hard times, you need those people that understand and know. I never was quizzed too closely. I didn't want to be, because I was living at many times very close to nobody if I live at all. What came through, but you got to have a lot of determination. You got to have a lot of belief in yourself, and you got to, to me, really, you got to be positive. Positive in everything in life. There's no point in being negative. Negativity will take you anywhere. Be positive. Be positive. Be positive. Believe in yourself. Believe in those around you. I couldn't make this place on my own. The family came in around us whenever we were nothing, then they started going there. And they're pushing the place on now. I mean, Kieran's been MD here for the last 4 or 5 years. I'm put out the grass basically. They're allowed me to come in every day, but not to get too involved in anything really.
Oh, but what, imagine just having you there, you must be so proud now that your boys are doing all the things that you could ever have dreamed of too, but the fact that you're here to advise them and be that person, be that Patsy that you had back then, you are that for them, John Bosco.
Yeah, probably people, you were very proud. I don't honestly understand what pride is. I believe I'm very pleased with how things are. I'm very happy that everybody's there, that everybody's, we're creating a good living for a large number of people, which is the main thing at the end of the day. That it's get to be this area. Without us here and without a few other companies, the areas all die. So we put in from starting with nothing 30 odd years ago here, we put in 200 odd people to work and then getting a wage every week, and it's good to see that. It's good to see kids going to school happy. There's nothing. There's nothing pleases me better than to see people doing well. People who left us and went out to start business alone. I love it. It's great to see them, it's fantastic, to see people who say, take a chance themselves and go and do it. We won't ridicule them for it. Pat them on the back, give them encouragement, let them at it, because they're needed out there, It's so important for everything, I talk about Glen Football Club, we won the All-Ireland 2 weeks ago. Slaughterdale is part of the same parish. Slaughterdale were fantastic for anybody, but still are. In one parish, you take 2 clubs like that in one parish, it'll be country area. And the people who play for Glen were born and raised in clubs there. People who play in Slaughterdale are exactly the same. They're all close-knit, tight communities. Lovely, lovely people. Look what you can do together.
Working together.
Work together, yeah.
John Bosco, you're a man that tells stories. You're a storyteller. I've heard that many names there in the podcast, and you actually remind me of another man I interviewed, Brian McAniff. He owns the hotels, the McAniff Group, and he told me lots of stories in our podcast. And stories are important. People are important in our journey, and we couldn't do it without a lot of people. And the interview that we've just done highlights that. I've never met anyone that credits their success to as many people. That says a lot about you, and that's what I like about you. And you said to me yesterday that you haven't never really fell out with anyone, and that's not easy in such a turbulent time. I hope nobody comes to the fore here. Says, well, he's not talking to me, but in general, you always try to live by that, right?
Yeah, I don't know why God gave you a voice if you can't use it. If somebody says, I don't speak to him, why would you not speak to somebody? It doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you fall out with someone? Why do you want to see somebody do ill? I can't understand it. Thank God I can't understand it, because people, I'm sure there are people out there who don't really like me. It's okay, I can't stop you doing that. But I don't really dislike anybody. Many people do a lot of wrong things to me, but I don't dwell on it, because if you dwell on it, you go down the way. You say, well, that's 5% of the people. Well, 85% of good people.
I know, and you're definitely a good person. Now, out of all of that, and I never said this to you yesterday, but sure, me and you used to working off the cuff here. The podcast is sponsored by a pharmacy group, right? It's called Mars Pharmacy. It's actually a Tyrone woman, Una O'Hagan from up Plum Bridge direction, and she lives in Dublin and owns 10 pharmacies, right? Some amazing story too, right? But she is sponsoring the podcast, and we want to talk to business owners, entrepreneurs, people in the world of work, about how they look after themselves. So it's about thriving in business and life. So how do you look so well? How are you so, what do you do? Do you do anything to look after yourself? Do you exercise? Do you eat? What is it that makes you the man you are in that respect? Like wellness.
Wellness is difficult to understand. I think it's in your breeding in many ways. My grandfather lived to 87. There's a not lived he was 88. Behind 84. Daddy died at 89. But came from fairly long living breed of people. Without getting the health details, I have as many bits of bad health as anybody would want. In truth, but I don't dwell on it.
Yeah.
You can't really get all my life. I'm in great form. I play a bit of golf. I do a bit of walking. I do a bit of exercise. I eat. I like a good fry. But I eat reasonably okay.
Yeah. I think when you're saying all this, like mindset is with you that keeps you so...
Mindset. It really is. And be positive. Positivity is what life, I think, should be about anyway. So I'm still only 77. I'm not for to play football yet, but somebody said you weren't that good at it. So
Flip, I wouldn't like to say you're full of ambition there whenever you're talking about that. But I just want to say thank you for being on the Dig podcast. I know it was pure sprung on you by your team.
Yes.
Right? You were like, what the hell am I signed up for here?
2 days ago.
2 days ago. But look at us, sure, we could talk all day. But you are a people person, a person that welcomes people into your workplace and welcomes people into your community. All the amazing work you've done for charity. We didn't even get to touch on that, but I'll be putting everything in the show notes of the podcast, all about the specialist group, all the great work that they've done for the community and for all their work projects as well. But thank you for being a guest today on the Dig podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you to everybody who's listened. And if you are watching the Dig podcast on YouTube, if you hit subscribe, it means that I can keep reaching out to people like John Bosco and keep sharing amazing stories like that. I'm going to take a lot away from today for sure about positivity and moving on from hard times, and believing in ourselves, believing in myself. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, if you hit follow, it means again we can help the podcast grow and keep reaching out and helping you guys with inspirational stories like this. Thank you for listening to another week of the Dig podcast.